I'm gonna grab a throw and we're just gonna have a little chit chat, I think. Today's video topic is a more mellow one, and actually it was requested via my Instagram stories. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, by the way, it's at SWSblog. I think this is an important topic because I don't know if we all necessarily take the time to realise when we need healing. And apart from really obviously traumatic moments in our life where we go through something really big and life-changing and realise that there's going to be some work that needs to be done on the other side of this, I think even the day-to-day actually can beat down at us and can like chip away at us. And I think as much as I'm going to be talking about how to find healing after a very traumatic life event, I think healing is a day-by-day and a lifelong process. Like, I think that we should always be in a state of healing or in a state of peace at least. I've always found that if I am very protective of my joy and of my inner peace, that I tend to be in a better state to kind of deal with the world and what life throws at us. So here are my thoughts. The key thing for me has always been music. Music is one of the things that I can absolutely guarantee will lift my spirits. And it could be any kind of music. When I am really going through it, or I don't know, I guess in this past sort of like the last year and a half, I've experienced a lot of life change, as you guys know, and music was my best friend. I used music to basically move me through the emotions that I was feeling. That is the power of music, I think. So I'm not somebody who is always as in touch with my emotions. What tends to happen is I will hold everything in, not really realising that I'm holding everything in, until one moment where I just have a very big emotional outburst, which is normally tears. And it's normally a very random thing, like something that you wouldn't actually think somebody would get that emotional about. So that's kind of how my stress manifests itself. So how music has been instrumental in my life is it has helped me to listen to songs and listen to lyrics that I can identify with and that allow me to open up my mind and my heart to the experience and to live those emotions. I listen to everything from, you know, just R&B, sometimes even a bit of hip hop, not loads. Soul music, music from the 80s, gospel music I think has been like #1 for getting me through particularly the more challenging times of 2017 for me. That was as a byproduct of continuing to strengthen my relationship with God and going to church more regularly, and as a result the music that I heard in church was absolutely relatable and I was able to identify what was being said, and I felt like I was in a safe space and able to just really feel what I was feeling. So music has been life-changing for me. I mean, I've been life-changing myself, but music has helped me through that process. Music has really been right here by my side in moments where I felt completely alone or really vulnerable or just really just down. That is my #1 go-to. And people say this a lot about women, but getting a new look or switching up something about your physical appearance is almost quite empowering. Now, if you guys have seen Waiting to Exhale, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So Angela Bassett's character is coming out of a troublesome relationship, finds out her husband has cheated on her. In the start of the film, she has this gorgeous, like long, black, thick hair. And her character then decides to just go into the salon one day and take scissors to it and just chop it all off and go completely short. And I think that film, Waiting to Exhale, actually is probably one that I should add to this list first of all, but is the greatest representation of women and the emotions that we kind of go through. So whether switching up your look is getting a new haircut or, I don't know, something physical related to your body, like going to the gym and, you know, getting in shape, or whether that is buying a whole new wardrobe, or that is wearing your hair a different colour, whatever that is, I tend to find that seeing yourself in a fresh light almost makes you feel in your mind as if you're having a fresh start. You're seeing life with different eyes. It's a new experience and you kind of feel really empowered. I've always found that a new look makes me feel, you know, really confident in myself, you know, feel very bold, very sexy, like whatever it is. I always just feel like I'm at the top of my game and I'm ready to clean slate and just go for it. So a new look could be a way in which you maybe choose to channel your energies. The next thing I'm going to mention, it comes in two facets. So it's time. Time heals all wounds. However, how you spend that time is crucial. Anything that is big or that takes a huge toll on you, it's going to take some time to move through. Like, that goes without saying. I'm just stating the obvious. But how you spend that time is what makes the difference between coming out on the other side and feeling like you are relieved, or feeling like things have improved, or just feeling like you don't know who you are, you're lost. Two ways I like to spend my time are in quiet, in prayer, meditation, just alone. You have to get comfortable with being alone and being able to reflect and think and just quiet your mind enough to be able to hear what you've been ignoring this whole time. I think when we're going through trauma or a difficult period in our life, we don't still ourselves enough to be able to listen to what our bodies, what our minds, and what our hearts are telling us. I find that when I am quiet enough and when I'm still enough, everything just becomes more clear, and things that I probably already knew that were kind of sitting in my subconscious mind start coming to the forefront. So quiet time is amazing. I'm somebody who really enjoys my own company, and for a while I thought that was a negative thing, but actually it's only in, you know, challenging times that I've realised that it's probably my biggest asset. But then there is also time with people, and time with people who pour into you. So I always find that spending time with my family, like immediate family, like mum, dad, brothers, sister, is the best way to spend my time. Of course, spending time with really good friends and everything like that helps as well. But I tend to find that when I'm with my immediate family, I am the truest and most honest and most stripped back version of myself. In fact, if you saw me with my family, you probably would not recognize that person that I am. When I'm on my own, I'm very chilled out, very relaxed, very laid back. And when I'm with my family, I am very honest, very silly. You know, I just say the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm not considered, you know, I'm not trying to be like, you know, intelligent or, you know, well articulated or anything like that. I'm just me, and that side of me, I think they're very lucky that they get to see that, because I feel like that's the more fun side of me, and I would like to be able to be that person on you know, here in front of you guys, but for some reason it's just a mental switch that happens. When I'm with them, I'm like that, and when I'm by myself, I'm like this. So I think we all have multiple personalities to a certain extent kind of living within us. But when I have that family time, because I feel so free, I almost feel like it's a release. As a family, we often get together and we have like heart-to-hearts. We used to call them bonding sessions. But actually, it's really just us all sitting down around the dining table and talking about life. So very recently my mum had this like deck of cards which basically asked some really like thought-provoking questions, and on a Friday night we were all sat around the table just kind of going around, everyone picking out a card and answering that question about themselves. And it was such an unexpectedly emotional night, and I love stuff like that. I love being able to just go to a safe place like that and really just connect with the people who probably mean the most in the world to me. So another thing is around consumption. So what are you consuming that is going to build you? There are certain periods in our life where we feel like we are being broken down, and I absolutely feel like those are the most powerful moments that we can ever go through. I feel like when you're being broken down, it's almost like you're being broken down to be rebuilt into a stronger and newer version of yourself. What you're consuming during that time that you're being broken down is key, because it will ultimately impact the person that you are then built up to be. So my consumption during hard times is really great books, motivational videos on YouTube, like those two things. I mean, these are things that I'm doing all the time anyway, in all honesty, just because that's what I love. But sometimes it's not even like hugely motivational. Sometimes it's really simple things like watching somebody else go about their day to day, watching vlogs, watching people just sharing their lives. And I find something about that so therapeutic. I mean, I've always been a big reader, but I have seen the value of reading and building yourself in knowledge and in, you know, hope and in stories to tell. Like it just makes you a better person. I think these are things that I would ideally advise that somebody is doing throughout their life, but I would say the most crucial point at which you need to be consuming positive, motivational and, you know, spirit building content is when you're going through a tough time. Then release, I think, is a really important part of, you know, the coping mechanisms for grief or for sadness. And I would say that it's not always crying. Sometimes I find that I just need to go out, be around my girlfriends and just dance and just have an amazingly good time. And I'm not saying go out with a view of, oh, you know, maybe I hope I'll meet someone, but just go out, get dressed up for just yourself and just dance like no one is watching, you know, laugh, have some drinks, do whatever it is like that you enjoy. Do it with you know, females around you who empower you and who make you feel like you are the most beautiful and amazing version of yourself. So go out with your girlfriends, have dinner, have drinks, and just enjoy each other's company and let it be all about you. Because I think rarely as women do we let it be all about us. I think sometimes when you're, I don't know, single in particular, you go out, you get dressed up, and as much as you're doing it for yourself, you go out maybe in the hope that somebody might notice you. I'm not saying that you go out with a view that you're only dressing up like this because you want guys to like you, but you go out hoping that somebody will notice that you've made an effort and that you look good. But you know what? Switching that on its head a bit, I think that gratification should come from the moment that you step in front of your mirror and you look at yourself and you say, this is the only person that I need to acknowledge how amazing I look tonight, and I'm gonna have an amazing time. Like, I think if you start it there and you end it there, your night can only get better, because you're not going out of this expectation that, you know, in the back of your mind, you're kind of hoping that somebody takes notice of you or hoping that people perceive you to be this beautiful creature. The only person that you need that seal of approval from is the person staring back at you in the mirror. The other thing, and everybody always says this, is travel. Now, I don't always, when I travel, get something from it, but I've never traveled alone. So that's something that I would love to do, because I think that being away in a new environment and being by yourself would be, I just feel like it would be so soul-freeing. So it's something I want to try, but I would definitely say travel is a good one. I think I saw this really cool quote and I screenshotted it and I wanted to share it with you guys. It says, sometimes you find yourself in the middle of nowhere, but sometimes in the middle of nowhere you will find yourself. And I think, I mean, how poignant is that? Like, it takes getting outside of your comfort zone, getting outside of your usual surroundings and finding yourself somewhere that you would never have expected to be, that you might pick up on something or realize something that basically speaks to exactly who you are. And I think we forget who we are until who we are is challenged by life and by life's dramatic and negative circumstances. And sometimes it takes getting out of who you think you are, if you even know who that person is, getting into a new space and then allowing yourself to get into a new headspace that you then get a good sense of self back. So traveling. Penultimate thing I would say is find a creative outlet. So if I haven't mentioned one of them yet, then I would definitely say just find a pursuit, a hobby. It just has to be something that allows you to just put your energy into creating something. So for me, that is writing. For you, it might be cooking. It might be organizing. This is really boring. Okay, it might be, I don't know, artwork. It might be dancing. It might be drawing, skating, surfing, whatever it is, pour yourself into creating something. And I always find that there's two benefits that come from this. You release everything that you've been holding in, and you put it into the form of into the physical form, and then it's something that you can look back on as almost a trophy that shows that you were brave enough and strong enough to be able to go through what you did and come out on the other side. So I would always say creativity breeds the ultimate gift to yourself, which is healing, but also remembrance, because I think it's always important to remember the tough times that we've gone through, especially when we are then experiencing the good times. So I think that's a really beautiful way to heal yourself. And the final thing is, do something nice for somebody else. I can't tell you how amazing it feels to be able to give. I didn't realise the power of giving. Like, you know, you hear kind of people talk about it and it just sounds very cliche. As unaltruistic as this sounds, doing something nice for someone else or giving something to somebody else will make you feel 10 times better than they do. And I don't know if it is the physical act of giving something to somebody which makes you feel like, oh, I have something to give. And it makes you feel important. It makes you feel like you have a purpose or a meaning on this earth. Or whether it is the gratitude that they send back your way when they've received whatever you've given to them or whatever you've done for them, that, you know, just kind of reinforces those positive and good feelings in you. Or whether it's realizing that that thing that you held on to, that you don't actually need it to be happy. So I think it's all of those thought processes that come together to make giving or doing nice things or acts of service for people probably one of the most game-changing things ever. I've done some giving in the past 6 months, and I do believe that it just has freed my spirit. It's made me feel amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I love giving now because it makes me feel good. If that's selfish, then fine, I'll absolutely take that on the chin, but at least I'm kind of putting something out there, and it's made other people feel good as well. And I think putting good feeling back into the world once you've received it for yourself is the only way to kind of close the loop on that. I really do hope that not too many of you need this video, because it would be quite sad to think that so many people need healing. But if you do, and it happens, this is life, it's not always a bed of roses. I really hope that at least one of the things in this video you can use to kind of help you move through the process. And healing is a process. I think we have to remember that maybe there isn't an end point. It's not from A to B. Maybe it's a completely like lifelong journey that we have to go through to heal. For me, healing is just making each day a little bit better than the last. And if you can feel like you're doing that, then I think you're on the right path. So if this video spoke to you, stay strong. If it didn't speak to you, but you know of somebody who it might, please do share it. And thank you so much for listening. I know it's been a little bit of a longer video, but I do like, you know, kind of sitting down and just chatting with you guys like this. It's a bit more, I feel more exposed, but I feel like, you know, I'll be sitting here having this kind of chat with, you know, one of my friends, or like a sister or a brother or somebody like that. So yeah, it's nice. Thank you so much for subscribing. To all my new subscribers, hi, my name is Nadreen, and I hope that you are happy enough to join me along this journey and are enjoying the content, of which you will be receiving twice a week on a Sunday and a Wednesday. So turn on post notifications so you don't miss a video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.